Now that we're done with the roller, we're going to go ahead and move on. So if you have a partner, you can actually roll your partner. It's actually kind of fun, but sometimes we don't have the ability. So you would do both calves, both quads, and work your way up. And then the next step is going to be some foam rolling. So the foam roller is great. It's going to allow blood flow to the localized muscle tissue that you're working on, but it's also going to work out some soreness from your last workout. It's going to work on some mobility that you might not have and start working on these muscles to get blood flow to them so that you don't injure them during the workout. So it's great for a pre-workout, and it's also great for post-workout when you want to get your body nice and loose after stretching. So the first one I like to work with is I like to lay on the foam roller, take my arm back, and then just roll a little bit towards the arm that's up, and then just roll the whole lat, working to the side, underneath your scap. A lot of this is going to be a little bit discomfort. If it's a lot of pain when you're first starting, bear with it. Just slowly work your way through this process, and you'll see that over time it will start to loosen up and it won't be as painful. The next one I like to do is the glute. So I like to kind of face the foam roller on an angle this way, drop my foot on top of the knee, and kind of just roll back and forth, all right, and help release the piriformis. Rolling from my hip, kind of to my tailbone here. Then you can adjust the angle so that you're now got the foam roller horizontal, and do the same thing. The next one, this one has a little bit slight discomfort. The IT bands are usually really tight on people, but once you start releasing this, you're going to see that you're going to be moving better. You're going to be able to do squats better. So this restricts a lot of people's movement, so it's important that you're actually taking care of these. Most of the time, this is usually where people have to work the most. So I'm simply just going to roll over to my side. For those that want a little bit more pressure, you do feet up in the air and have both feet on top. For less pressure, you're going to put your top leg over. This is going to help you bridge so you're not putting all your weight on your body. I'm going to go from my hip to my knee, just rolling my IT bands. If you feel like one spot has got a little bit knotting action or it's a little bit tighter, just work on that one spot, kind of allow that foam roller to sit on it, and then just floss it just a teeny bit. All right. Once you get that to kind of release, then you move on to a new spot. Like I said, putting one foot up is just going to add that pressure. So you're actually going to get a really good planking and core workout as you're doing some foam rolling. Next one, I would like to work on my hip flexors. So I slide the foam roller over, get on here on an angle, and I work my hip flexor just like that. And that's simply just that front of that pelvis. All right, I'm just going to open up just a little bit, and I'm going to get all areas. I'm going to close it, open, and make sure that I'm working out that tightness in there. After getting both of your hip flexors, slide the foam roller through, come down to your quads, rolling through your quads. Both legs, you can go on top to get more pressure. For those of you that kind of get used to this and you need to get that deep tissue massage, you can roll, and like the same thing with the rollers, kind of just roll through the whole quad, both front, side, and inner thigh. The next part is you're going to want to do your calves. All right, so the calves are a little bit more difficult because you got to support your body weight more. So if it's easier when you're just starting, just stay with the foam roll or with the roller stick. But as you feel a little bit more comfortable, you can go your calves on the foam roller, more pressure by putting both on at the same time. You're going to want to work your hamstrings as well because this is very tight in most people. Same thing, more pressure, just put both legs on top. So that's how we do our foam rolling. So you'll do that before workouts, you'll do that after workouts. And now specifically for after workouts, we're going to work a little bit of band stretching here. So what you really want to do is you just want to kind of lie down on the floor, circle this band around the foot, lay back, keep the bottom foot flat with your toe pointed facing yourself in a dorsiflexion, and we're just going to pull back on this band until we get a slight stretch, and you're going to hold this 15 to 25 seconds, and then you're going to release. All right, once you've rested, now we're going to grab with the inside hand, keeping our shoulders flat on the ground. We're just going to pull. All right, we don't want to pull a lot so we go into lumbar rotation, right? We just want to pull just a little bit so that we activate the side of our thigh and we activate our glutes here. Once we stretch through that, you can also do a little active lowering and raising, so bringing one leg up, taking it back down, bring it up, back down. That's going to help work on some strength in your hip flexors as well. Another stretch that we like to do is called the 90-90 stretch. All right, so this is going to work our glutes and our hips. So what you want to do is you want to lie down on the floor, pretty much like you're sitting in a chair, both feet out just like this. And what we do is we want to then rotate your body over towards the mid, as far as you can towards your midline. Grab your foot with the other hand and then lean forward so that you activate that stretch. When you're doing it right, you should feel it somewhere right here in your glute and your hip. So from this angle, I'm simply leaning down and I'm feeling that stretch in there. Rear foot elevated, hip flexor stretch, much needed for everybody. This is where everyone's usually really, really tight at. You could put a pad underneath your knee if it's discomfort on the floor, but all we're going to do is we're going to have hands on hip and we're going to just have our knees right around a 90 degree, and we're going to drive this front knee straight out in front of us, and then we're going to take our shoulders back to activate the stretch. So you should feel a nice long stretch through your hip flexor and down into your quad depending on how tight you are. Hold it for about 15 to 20 seconds. You can come back and you can hit that twice if it feels a little better. Moving on. We're going to go over here to the TRX. So with the TRX, we're going to work a pec stretch, right? So we're going to stand out till we do a T, all right? And then we're just going to adjust and have one foot out. I'm still in a T, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lean into this stretch using my knee moving forward to activate it, and you should feel it in your deltoids and across the front of your chest. Same thing, you want to hold that stretch 15 to 20 seconds and then come out of it. The next stretch is going to be a lat stretch. So this one's usually a little bit difficult to get in for people. What you want to do is you want to be having so your body can face the wall. You're going to turn your feet vertical and you want to try and have them in a straight line. I'm going to hold on to this TRX with a firm grip. All right, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my hips to the floor behind me, and then I'm just going to extend my arms, and I should feel this underneath my shoulder through the scabs, working all the way down to the hip. You can kind of turn a little bit and notice you'll be able to activate different parts of that stretch. Turn your feet the other way, drop your hips in, and once again hold that stretch. Now we're going to work a glute stretch using the TRX, which you're going to put one foot up. You're going to sink down in this squatted position in this seat, and you should feel this in the thigh and the hip of the leg that's on top of your knee. You would do that both sides, and then you can move on to our quad stretch, which we're just going to use the wall to brace here. I'm just going to have one hand on the wall. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reach back for the inside of my foot. I'm going to pull until I feel a stretch through the front of my quad. 15 to 20 seconds is usually good enough for each quad. Next, we're going to work our ankle stretch, which is simply, we're going to keep our back leg deep, nice split stance, and we're going to drive our front knee to the wall, but we're going to keep the back heel flat on the ground. This is going to activate a stretch to your calf, all right, and it's going to great stretch for ankle mobility. You would do it with both legs, and then you would move on to another stretch, where with this one we're going to focus on driving the front knee to the wall and keeping this back knee, this front leg, the heel still flat on the ground. So we're just leaning down till we feel a stretch and pressure here in the front of the ankle. Notice this back foot, it has nothing to do. Some people even like to do the stretch this way to add more pressure. You want to kind of work different planes. So a little in, a little out, and straight forward to work on some ankle mobility there. Couple arm stretches, taking your hand out, pulling the fingers back is going to activate the bottom. To activate the top of the forearm, we're just going to flip it over and we're just there. Taking your arm across, pulling as hard as you can to activate the shoulder stretch. Take the arm over, and now you're going to get a tricep stretch, but also another shoulder stretch. So you want to grab with the elbow, grab with the top hand to the elbow, and pull back behind so that your hand is going back behind just that way. Internal rotation stretch. We're going to put our hand slightly on our hip. It's nice in place. Then we're going to reach to our elbow and we're going to pull that stretch. Some people have a little bit of difficulty with that one. Simply, you could just take it, put your hand here, find a wall or pull, and then just kind of lean into this stretch to activate it through here. All right, so be very, very careful with those stretches because we are stretching very, very small muscles, and you can actually do a little damage if you stretch it too much. So last but not least, we have our lacrosse ball. And simply, we like to just kind of get this lacrosse ball on our back, lean up against the wall to apply pressure. This, you're going to usually find any knots that you have in your traps, any knots that you might have in your scaps, right? So you lower the ball down just a little bit and kind of get underneath that shoulder blade. All right, this is going to help you release a lot of pressure from doing a lot of pulling action. That one really feels good today. You can also do your deltoids, your chest. For the video's sake, we're just going to keep it short. And like I said, the last one right here on your glute is a great one. If you're not able to do it on the ground, this bad boy locks up a little bit for us, so it's going to add a lot more mobility, and it's going to help you in your lifts so that you're not tight through your glutes and through your hip. So that's just a nice, easy, short video. I say short, but as you get it, we covered a lot of stuff there. This is what you want to do on a regular basis. You know, you can do this just as your workout on an off day. You can do all those exercises, all those stretches. The foam rolling should be done all the time. You should always remember, start off with the golf ball on your foot, work your way up the chain, and then at the end of the training session, hit the stretches and the foam rolling once again. All right, so make sure that when you come into the gym, you're taking care of all those areas so that you can stay fresh, stay recovered, and keep on getting great results with impact.